This is Van Electric Ghost, and we're talking about Pancea Trap Dream. Peg believes in analog destiny. And what we have here is a couple of songs that we've done with our analog modes and a couple other cool Eurorack tools. One of those tools is the Make Noise Maths module. So in the song Pancea Trap Dream, what we have going on is we used the ability of the Maths module from Make Noise to add additional LFOs to a modular synth signal. In this particular instance, we're using the Moog Mother 32 semi-modular synth, which is in our Eurorack solution, the Arturia 6U. We also have a Arturia Mini Brute 2S. And the way we have it wired is the 2S receives all the Eurorack signals, and then all those signals come out of a mono quarter-inch line, goes into an MX1 performance mixer, then comes out of a left and right output and goes into a channel 1 and channel 2 of a Zoom R24 mixer. What that does is it takes a monophonic signal and makes it stereo. So that's how we do that without a DAW. And then we don't have clipping, we don't have compression, we get the full signal. So the cool thing that the Maths module does is it adds additional low-frequency oscillators to the signal. Now we already have a LFO on the actual Mother 32, but we ran it kind of slow, and then we run that VCA into the Maths utility module, and then take the mid signal, which is like the high and the low. It's a combination of the high and the low. You have the ability to get both of those, and then we brought it into a second LFO within the Maths module. The second LFO allows us to kind of change the signal. We created a repeating bass or low, analog sound. It's not a kick drum, but it's like a bass and a kick at the same time. That's the basis of the whole song. So that song, we wrote a version of it yesterday, was kind of the first version. And so we've actually refined it tonight. And so tonight we actually have a new version of the song that we call Pancea Trap Dream Utah. And so the first version has the lyrics are still the same, but we kept the same vocal. We've replaced a grandmother track. So we used the Moog grandmother to create a lead line. It was kind of messy on the first version. It was the first original idea of it. The second version, we got a little tighter with it. We adjusted some of the cool things on the grandmother. We playing with the LFO. We were playing with the high pass filter, which you have to actually wire into. So we adjusted the audio signal. We've got the sample and hold circuit being utilized. We've got the spring reverb being utilized. We've got the high pass filter and the low pass filter. And we're not using the main envelope generator. We're actually we able to kind of use two envelopes generators on the grandmother, actually two. And so we're using both of them. And then that's we get this lead where we sometimes bring in the modulation, and then sometimes we use the pitch wheel. At the end of the song, we do an interesting thing with the spring reverb and the actual low pass filter, and you can hear that. The vocal is courtesy of the Roland VT4 vocal transformer. And so that song, we've got the second version of it on here. We're adding it into the actual mix of what we're doing. And then what we wanted to talk about is we saw a review of the Sequential Circuits Pro 3. The cool thing about the Pro 3 is another paraphonic synth. And we've seen Behringer come out with its kind of poly D. We've got, and then, Moog came out with their Matriarch, which we've been lusting after. It seems like the Pro 3 is a lot like the Matriarch, except it's not. It's got a wavetable digital oscillator, and then it's got VCOs. And then I think it has the ability to save patches, which is typical Sequential Circuits capability. But then it's also got the ability on the envelopes to actually change the time. You can actually change the delay time on the envelopes. And that's pretty cool. And so it's got some pretty cool, interesting stuff that you can do that other synths don't have. So it ends up being a really awesome sonic playground. I mean, it's a 4-note paraphonic synth, just like the Matriarch. I think it has a BBD delay, so it's got an analog true delay. The Matriarch, it's got 4 oscillators, not 3, but they're all analog. There's no digital wavetable oscillator. So it's a matter of like what you think you want in sound design. You want to go totally old school. The Matriarch is a classic modern synth that gives you full analog path. The Pro 3 is a step in the past and a step in the future with the wavetable. So it's kind of a combination of which way you want to go. The other thing we did is we actually visited a guitar center and we tried the Phantom 88 key version with the weighted keys. And I would say there is a reason to use synth action. And then also the reason to use a 61 key keyboard. 2 things. We've used the Roland Juno GI for years since we bought it in probably 2012. The thing about having a 61 key keyboard is you're close to the modulation, pitch bender, lever, or wheel. And so when you're playing, you have access it from the from the bottom of the keyboard to the top because it's only 61 keys. As soon as you get the 88, you don't have that. It's more like a piano, but then it has that restriction at the top end. You can't really use the pitch bend wheel as easily because the length of the keyboard makes it difficult. And so I found that. And then also when you're playing like pads, the key action on a synth action keyboard versus a standard weighted piano type keyboard is actually different. It's harder to do the runs that you do with a synth with a lighter action. So one of the things we do, we like the idea of having the weighted keys to do piano parts and do parts that allow you to be really precise. What we probably do is still keep our Juno GI and to hook it up to MIDI and do the pads with the synth action keyboard. That's just something we noticed. We do like the analog filter on the Phantom, and we did find that there were certain tones that we have on our GI that aren't in the Phantom. Even though the Phantom has tons of sounds, it was missing a bunch of the guitars that are in the Juno GI, and then also the Juno GI has boss effects, which we used to a great deal of ability when we use our music and the guitars. So we was like, wow, there's still a reason to have our GI because it has more guitars in it. Though the current Juno still have the same guitars that are in my Juno GI, but for some reason the Phantom didn't have all the guitars that were in the Juno, which is like, okay, this is one of those things that happens. Like, because then you get the Jupiter X and you're like, okay, what's the difference between they're both between a Zencore Jupiter X and a Zencore Phantom? Well, the Phantom is a workstation, so it's got the workstation workflow, it's got the sample pads, it's got the RD piano, but the Jupiter has the RD piano too. But it looks like the Phantom cannot replicate entirely a Jupiter 8 or a 106 or 3 XP, we're probably getting it wrong, or a polyphonic SE. It can't do that. It doesn't do what the System 8 does. But the Jupiter does what the System 8 can't do. It has 256 voices. So it's got 256 notes of polyphony that the System 8 doesn't have. It's only 8. So then you have a Jupiter 8 that can be that layered. It can be that fat. So that gives you an ability that all the Behringer boys don't seem to understand. It might be boring because it's not future thinking, but there's some cool stuff in the Phantom in terms of the workflow and the samples and the RD piano and the fact that you could mix a polyphonic SH101 with a polyphonic, Jupiter Juno 106 or Juno 60 or Jupiter 8. You can do that. You can mix these things and have an RD piano with a Jupiter 8 pad. And if you're doing sound composition, you're doing performance, the Phantom is rock solid. It's going to get you what you want. It's going to be a lot tighter than any kind of soft synth hooked up to a laptop. It's going to be there all the time. It's not going to crap out. So, it's a good investment. It's always expensive. Well, getting a Mac with the right level of RAM and buying the software, Pro Tools, and putting it on, you're going to probably spend the same amount as buying the Phantom. I think the Phantom could do everything that all your soft synths do, pretty much. It has so much capability. You can pretty much do anything you want. You can find anything you want. You can probably build, and you can build a sound from scratch. You can actually do it from a knit. So, it's a matter of what you want to do. But we like to talk synths. The other synth that we're really lost in after is UDO Super 6, which we think is a really future thinking kind of interesting. It's a binaural synth, which means it's a full stereo synth from the oscillators all the way through, which is we haven't really seen that. The actual matriarch is stereo, but not at the oscillators. It gets stereo at the filters and stereo at the envelopes and stereo down the line, but in the actual mixer, but it's not at the oscillator level, and that's the difference with the UDO. It's 12 voice binaural, and it's really interesting. It's got a really cool sound design. It's got kind of a nod to the Jupiter 8 and a Juno 106 is that kind of structure. So we think it's a really cool synth. We're really interested in what they have with that synth. And we think it's one of the coolest synths I've seen in a long time. So we're hoping that one day we'll be able to get that with all the things we're looking at. But we think at the end of the day, because of composition and working with other people, having the Phantom would be a really cool thing because it would give us a lot of compositional capability. You could also look at the Akai 1, which I think could give you some capability, but I'd actually prefer the Phantom because I'm like a keyboard player. So that's what we got to say tonight. Check out the latest version of Pancea Trap Utah. You can see the difference between the original Pancea. It's a lot tighter. It's the grandmother lines were totally rewritten. The initial bass kick sound that we did on the Mother 32 and the Maths has been pushed up. We added an additional vocal line from the Phantom, where he brings in the Utah idea, and then listen to the other song, Sample and Hold in Downtown, which has our use of the sample and hold circuit from the grandmother, which we talked about before. But we love that song so much we put it in here in this episode. If you have any comments, leave a comment on the voice memo. If you're a band you want to get interviewed, give us a ring at Phantom Electric Ghost on Facebook. So that's at Phantom Electric Ghost on Facebook. Send us a direct message. And if you like what we're doing, please become a supporter of the program. Click on the support buttons, and we'll talk to you later.
Burn down tree, don't you? Don't you? That's not me. No, it's bad. Joey set you free. for the disease, dog. And you know you're not free, dog. I'm the cure for the disease, dog. You're like a burned down tree, don't you? Don't you? That's not me. Don't you bet. Josie set you free. That's not me. Don't expect Josie to set you free. That's not me. I'm not the cure for your disease. I know you like the birthday dread. I won't set the libido free. But that's not me. Good morning, little girl. From your last friend. You can't blame Miss Josephine for the things you do to some sin. You can't blame Miss Josephine, for you know you're a fiend. I'm not the cure for your disease. I know you like the burned down trees. You're the remains of the August leaves. That's not me. No, I'm not the cure for your disease. No, it's not me. Gonna be always in the wind. And don't even try to pretend. Oh, you poor Jesus. Oh, your leg flat. You know it's not me right there. You know life's cheap. I'm not to get all the straight. Not another dumb thing. You're gonna get the deal done with me. And Josie's not the cure for your disease. Not me. Josie's not the cure for your disease. And you know it's not me. I'm Josie's not the cure for your disease. Gonna burn down the tree. You're just the remains of the orchid leaves. You're the beetle just took the lead. You'll snap my fingers before you come round. You have to snap my fingers and before you go down. I look at you sideways, my back is even down. For you know that you gotta turn around. I like the symbol I'm holding before I go down. I like the symbol I'm holding before I go uptown. I like to look at you sideways before your boys come round. After wearing my backless, they're all evening gown. before I come around. Now snap my head before I go down. Gotta snap my finger before I come around. And it's like going upward, and then it's like going down. I have to tell you, darling, that I have to really go around. And every dark corner of this town, I don't miss the electric, enjoy the down. Have to snap fingers before you come around. Have to wear that backless material gown. Before you come round, and before you come round, you have to snap my finger before you go down. You have to be with Josie when I'm out there all gown. All your boys are down, uptown. All your boys on the ground, get with the girls on town. All your boys on the ground, get with the girls uptown. All your girls on down, get with the girls all around. Girl, snap my finger before your boys come around. I have to snap my fingers in my ethereal backlash gown. How many degrees do I have to twist before you all come around? How many people will I have to diss before you're all underground? How many turns do I have to twist before you all come around? How many girls do I have to dig until you're all above ground? I have to snap my finger for your boys to come around. I have to wear my backlash ethereal gown. It's down, it's down. The girls on the ground. We're gonna put dance naked uptown. We're gonna put dance naked in the underground. You're gonna see me, darling, when I come out. I have to snap my finger for you to go down. You're gonna buck dance naked. You're gonna buck dance naked all uptown. I have to snap my fingers before your boy come down. I have to snap my fingers before you buck wild downtown. I have to snap my fingers before you come uptown. I have to snap my fingers before you're underground.